Oh, that's awesome. All right. Hi, this is Rebecca Nash. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Ellen, as far as roll call, we are all here with the exception of Brian.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And then Gail, as far as I assume no citizens' comments. And let's see, so moving on, so could I get a motion to approve the meetings from our September 21st? Thank you. In a second. And I know the first one was John, and was the second one, was that Carol?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, as far as, oh, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so motion approved. I want to, as far as correspondence, we had the reappointment letters, and I wanted to thank Carol, Ralph, and Cheryl for agreeing to stay on the commission. I really do appreciate that, and we all got, well, that group and myself all got reappointed, so thank you again. Carol, as far as the treasurer's report,
Okay.
I heard it was a lot of fun.
Not only is June always complicated, but this year there were extra complications between COVID and there not being expenditures and being expenditures, and then things were paid, well, not taken out of our account on time by the town hall. I don't think this means that the providers were paid late in general. Some of it was on a town credit card, for instance. So that means that it didn't come as a bill to us until after the fact. But also then the money that was sent by the town for that didn't get taken out of our account until even later. So September, which is the last one you have, it's being October, actually has what I believe is the absolute final. Yes, Gail?
That's yes, it is. And I believe Brian is joining us.
Yes, this is Brian.
Oh, great, thank you.
On the report part of the September one, it shows the usual September things, money in, money out, and then additional June expenditures of $212.94. So that last little bit is the $212.94 is the last of the things from last fiscal year. If anybody has questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. Gail helped me a great deal wading through all this, I will say. She did a lot of work.
And I will add, Carol, that the total expenditures for the year matched what the town had for total expenditures. Once that $212.94 was put in there.
Okay, good. It's always good when they match. And it also matched the bank account, so here we are. I don't have anything else to say unless somebody has a question.
Okay, so hearing no questions, and feel free to jump in if you have one. I thank you both for working on that, and Gail, if you want to start your report, that would be great.
Okay, will do. I'm looking at replacing the phones at Guilford Library with a better system. We're currently using off-the-shelf phones, which have started to fail. We have one phone that goes into a wall jack with two wireless portable phones. Now that Stacy is spending more time at Gills Ferry, we'd like her to have a phone at her desk, but the signal with the portable phone is not getting through very well. She often has to walk out into the main library to talk on the phone. In addition, people at the front desk have to walk all the way down and into that room to let her know if she has a phone call. There's no way of transferring a call, if you will, on the phone. I'm in the process of getting estimates from vendors to replace the phones. Sean at Public Works says they can do the wiring for putting in an additional jack and to upgrade the existing phone wiring. The wiring that's there now is Cat 3, and the standard is either Cat 5 or Cat 6. So I think we're going to be looking at replacing the wiring for a new phone system. And obviously I'd like a system that allows the staff to talk to her without walking down to the room, as well as to transfer calls to her. She sometimes is the second person over at Gales Ferry, and it would be nice to be able to let her know if they needed help up front if it got busy. So there's a lot of reasons why a new phone makes sense. This would be a good time to use some of our funds, particularly those that were given specifically for Gales Ferry Library. I'll show you the funds that are being held right now by the Bill Library Association, but there is about 31,000 still in there allocated for Gales Ferry Library. So I would like to use some of that for a phone system. COVID, we had a patron who visits both libraries test positive for COVID. When we heard about it, 14 days had passed and he had not been in the library during that time. I spoke with the town's COVID person who also spoke with Ledgelight Health District, and they felt we were okay because of the protocols we had in place, wearing masks, social distancing, and cleaning surfaces after each use. I asked about contact tracing and why we were not notified about this. And they did do contact tracing, but they determined that no one in the library was in close contact with this person, so that they did not need to contact us. And close contact is defined as being within 6 feet of someone for 15 minutes or more, not wearing a mask, people nearby not wearing a mask, and speaking face-to-face without a mask on for more than 15 minutes. Because of the time that had elapsed, I did not see a need to close. I did run this by the mayor and Human Resources, and they felt the same way, particularly with the ruling from Ledgelight. Staff were encouraged to get tested. Some did, and all were negative, thankfully. On Lion News, Lion recently upgraded to a cloud-based server for Sierra, the library's automation system. This is a good move for Lion and will provide libraries with faster, more efficient service. And we have noticed it is going a little quicker now. Building news, we're still waiting on the furnace. The components are still coming in. I think the last pieces are due to come in next week, and the work is scheduled to begin on November 9th. Will take approximately a month to complete. So it could get a little chilly in the library while we're waiting for that new furnace, but hopefully the weather will stay reasonably warm. There will probably be a day or a half day when we are without power and will need to close. And I've asked to have some notice ahead of time so that we can let patrons know. Sean is also getting estimates to upgrade all the lighting at the library to LED. We anticipate this will provide a sizable cost savings to our electric bill and could be used as a model for the town. Before I end, I do want to show you the bank statements from the Bill Library Association. Not that one. Oh, here we go. So this first one is the Bill Library Building Fund. As you know, these funds are being held, and some of it's cash, some of it's stocks, some of it's a CD, and the total amount is $447,968.44. And then in addition to that, these are the Library Commission funds that are not specific to the building fund. The general Library Commission funds, we have $46,571.07. And this is where I would take the funds for the phone system. Again, about 30+ thousand of that has been earmarked for Gales Ferry Library. So there are funds there to do that. And then we have the Bill Holton Fund, which is another $547,619. As many of you know, Bill had really wanted the funds to be used for a building project, but in the end, he opened it up so it could be used for other things. But his original intention was for the building fund. And maybe someday, if things get better, we can relook at that project again. We did list it in the strategic plan as something we want to look at within the next 3 to 5 years. Any questions about these funds?
No. Gail, I have a question. What differentiates what the town pays for the library versus what might have to come out of the Library Commission? Like, we didn't pay for the HVAC system, right?
No, the town did, yes.
So why shouldn't the town be responsible for the telephones?
Well, they should be, but it's not in the budget for this year.
We didn't anticipate the phones breaking. It's not that you're, it's an unexpected, I'm sure they have an unexpected expense fund, right? But I would think that that's an infrastructure, something for the library. As
Right.
opposed to nice to have, right?
Right. It is, at this point, it's become a necessity to do something over there with the phones. So what you're saying is we should go to the town first?
I think so. I mean, they've cut the budget back so far. I would rather be able to, my opinion is to be able to use the commission funds for things that were clearly out of scope for the town, and the town should pay for things that are infrastructure and building related, and I think the phones would fall into that. But what does everybody else think?
Yeah, I do. That's a really interesting point, because it's almost a slippery slope to start going down, that if we start, paying for infrastructure things out of those funds.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, it definitely can't hurt to ask.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is Beth. I also agree. I mean, they're taking care of the HVAC and the furnace and things like that, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And that is quite a hefty cost for that HVAC. They had to get a bid waiver, and I believe it's over $100,000 for that. They're converting to propane, and
Right.
it's a whole different system that they're doing. There's two furnaces that they're replacing.
Yeah, and Gail, what about the LED lights? Who's paying for that?
They will pay for that. I don't know what the cost is yet for that, but that's coming out of their budget.
Right, so I think the phone is in the same category.
I agree.
What they do is they put so much money each year into a capital fund for all the buildings. And we have been planning on this HVAC for about 3 years. And they had hoped to get some grant money for it, but that fell through. But in the end, we're at a critical point where the furnaces are really continuing to fail. So they knew they had to do something. And Steve made a good case to town council and got the bid waiver and the okay to do that. The LED
As far as the phones, oh, sorry. Finish what you were saying.
The LED lighting is something new that has been presented because of the high cost of our electric bill. Sean is convinced that if we put in LED lights, it will pay for itself in 2 or 3 years. And that's kind of what he's going on and why he wants to do the whole building and use it as a model for the town.
No, that's exciting. But as far as the phones, I mean, I know you haven't gotten pricing yet, but do you have a ballpark estimate of what it would be?
I really don't. He's giving us 2 or 3 options. I said, give me the very basic to connecting Bill and Gales Ferry, although I don't think that's something we're going to do. I'm not sure I see the advantages of doing that. The idea would be we could just pick up a phone and push a button and talk to Gales Ferry. But with speed dial, that's not that difficult, but I think we need to have a one button, you know, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be too costly to do that. So
Right, but
looking at
you said right now we're using sort of an off-the-shelf sort of thing, right?
Exactly. Phones.
I mean, so, go ahead, sorry. Well, I mean, an off-the-shelf phone thing with multiple extensions and the possibility of, like, you know, sort of paging someone, I mean, that's not a huge expense. I mean, it does seem like, or at least I'm sort of guessing. I mean, I've only used this sort of in our house, but if you're able to use something like that, or, you know, if the cost isn't that high, it seems like it fits with the town stuff. So maybe it would be a no problem at all. But I do think asking them first makes a lot of sense.
We could
for paying for it.
do that and see what they say.
Well, Sean's getting the bids anyway, right?
Yes, we're actually meeting with the first contractor tomorrow afternoon. I was hoping that we could meet before tonight, obviously, but that didn't happen. So we are going to meet tomorrow, and then we've got another contractor that we're going to talk to as well.
Can you limp along with what you like? Is your concern about the timing?
Well, that would delay it for sure if we have to go back to the town and, you know, get on the town council agenda and get them to okay it. I think what matters is what the cost is. And I'm pretty sure that Sean's going to tell me it's not in his budget this year. So it would mean asking for a special allocation. But it won't hurt to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, you know, if you can ask, do you need to know next steps, you know, like as far as, do you need us to make some sort of motion tonight in case they don't approve it? But that, I mean, that seems like we don't really want to go down that road either.
Well, worst case, we don't know until November. So, I'll have prices by then and we can see which way it's going. And I can bring it back in November and we can talk about it.
Okay, so it's working well enough that you can stretch it out another month or so.
It's awkward, but we can make it work.
Can't be more than $2,000 for a phone system for Gales Ferry with one phone and then an extension in the other room. We're not talking big bucks here.
We're actually looking at 4 phones. One in the basement, one in children's, and then 2 at the front desk. And one of those 2 would be a portable phone they could take out into the library.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think it's going to be that expensive.
so it's 4 phones, 1 line.
Yeah.
With the ability to transfer an intercom, voicemail, that kind of thing. One of the options I asked them to look at when we were working at home, we tried to figure out a way with the phone at Bill Library to get it to ring at one of our homes so that we could answer it while we were working at home. And the system at Bill is not capable of doing that. But that obviously is an option, and one that the contractor is going to give me a price on if we wanted something like that.
Yeah, I think the consensus is probably to get the quotes and then, see if the town is willing to pay for it as part of infrastructure and, sort of matching with what, the type of things that they do typically pay for.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay.
The town doesn't have a contract with somebody that already performs their telecommunications?
They use, the company they use apparently is a very expensive company, from what I've heard from Sean. I had actually talked to them when they first did the town hall phone system, because the town hall went to voice over internet, and I asked them to look at that for the library, and it actually turned out it was going to be more expensive for us at the library to go that route than to keep it the way we have it. So I did not look at that. And I know voice over internet is one of the other options that the contractor is looking at for Gales Ferry, and that would be a way to connect the 2 buildings. But my sense is that is going to be expensive.
Yeah, and as you said, speed dial connects it quick enough, and but yeah, see what they come back with, and then if we need to talk about it more in November, that makes sense. Did anyone else have any other input on that, or?
I agree that we should find out what the possible figures are, the options, and ask the town. If it's a small amount, maybe that's not a big deal, but but they can hold us up a lot. So we'll have more information in November, and we can
make a decision. Yeah.
Yeah, what if you bring it up as a safety concern? Because it is a safety concern.
children's room.
Yeah, I can certainly paint it that way, because you're right, it is. And that's one of the reasons I want to be able to, connect to Stacy in the children's room as quickly as possible. When it gets busy at the front desk, you can't walk all the way down there to let someone know you need help. So
It's not just a matter of help, right? It's a matter if there's an emergency up front, or if anything else is going on, or if she has an emergency in the children's room, she has to be able to communicate. So I would frame it as a safety issue that the phones aren't currently working, and see where it goes from there. See if it gets a higher priority.
Okay, okay. Well, we'll talk more in November when I have figures.
I have a quick question about the Lion. Can I ask that?
Sure.
Did Lion, is it Innovative Interfaces that they upgraded to a different type of system?
They're still with Innovative. They're still with Sierra. But what they did was they moved from the server in the Lion office to a cloud-based server with Amazon, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I was just curious.
Gail, did you have any more for your report, or are there any other questions on the report?
I think that's it for my report.
Okay, no, okay. All right, so moving on to committee reports. I think the only committee we have right now are the Friends, and I know, John, it's been challenging, but do you have anything to report out?
Not much. Obviously, they've just allowed volunteers into the library, so they will be working on the bookstore at Gales Ferry. Will still be closed for that because of the HVAC. Well, that's going to be involved there. They are working on a books and more type thing for November, but I don't know that it will be that date. They're still working on the date, and it'll be a reduced thing, probably just the silent auction for that. There are obviously no live programs. They're talking about a few virtual type programs, but nothing is firmed up yet. Gail, if you have anything to add, you can add to what I've said.
No, I will add on the basket raffle they're planning for November. They are looking for donations to either go in a basket or a basket to put out there in the silent auction. So if anyone feels so inclined, any donations can be dropped off at the library. They're going to set them up on November 2nd, and it will run until November 21st. And they'll announce the winning bids at noontime on that day.
Assuming that we get enough donations to even open on November 2nd. So
I think they'll get some.
Yep. That's the report.
All right, thank you very much. Old business, it looks like we don't have any, but am I mistaken on that, or?
No, but if I could back up and make one more comment on the Friends, they in their meeting last week, they approved $17,000 worth of items in their budget for next year, including the museum passes, the digital resources that they provide us with. I'm drawing a blank.
What the Friends do, there's $17,000 in the checking account now. So they know they can spend that amount. We can't be sure of what the Friends are going to be raising for this year because of COVID and how long that's going to last. But they do have the funds to fund the $17,000 that was approved. I forgot about that. Thank you for mentioning that, Gail. That's down from 24,000 last year.
That will include the hoopla, and
right.
It may not be enough for the whole year. So what they can't cover, I will supplement with my book budget. Hoopla, Mango, Ancestry, Creative Bug. Those are some of the digital resources that they provide. One other thing I want to mention is we will not be doing a giving tree this year. The town is not doing a toy drive. They're doing it a little bit differently. They're going to give out gift cards, and there's no way for us to distribute the books. So we've decided that we're going to let it go for this year. So there won't be a giving tree.
Okay. Anything else? Are we good? So new business, it looks like we already talked about the phone system, and you're going to get the quotes and check in with the town, and then we'll move that over to next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Any other new business or anything before we adjourn?
This is Beth. Have you heard any positive feedback about the overdue fees or anything?
No, but I'm seeing a lot of bills in the donation jar.
Okay.
That's great.
But no, I haven't gotten any feedback.
I have to say, I personally love it. It's reduced the stress in my life, and I'm grateful.
How did the staff feel about the COVID positive person?
They weren't happy.
When I read that, I was a little flabbergasted because there aren't a lot of situations where those criteria that Ledgelight talked about were going to be met, in any case, and I guess I disagree with what Ledgelight said. And I understand it was 14 days later, but it just doesn't sit right with me.
It would have been nice if we had been notified. Although if we had, we probably would have closed. But I just feel like something was missing that they didn't let us know. This is a patron who is in both libraries quite frequently, sometimes multiple times a day. So we all know, who he is. And we heard about it from a secondhand source. So, yeah.
But even if the staff stayed away from the person and followed all those, 15 minutes, 6 feet kind of things, doesn't mean that person wasn't sitting next to somebody else on a chair.
Right. It doesn't mean that the person didn't handle something that somebody else then handled and things like that.
So the answer I got for that was that from Ledgelight again, that they don't feel it's caught off the surfaces. It's more airborne.
Well, then why are you holding books for 3 days before you re-shelving them?
Right.
It's not consistent, and it's not rules of convenience. It's rules, right?
Yep. Yeah, I feel we should have been notified, and I'm not sure what else we could do. They compared it to being in a grocery store with somebody who is positive. That it's a risk that you take.
Did the person just walk around and leave?
He uses the computers.
Well, then that's not a grocery store.
And after people leave a computer, we go and wipe it down. But even so, yeah.
I mean, I'm making the assumption that he didn't know he was positive when he was in the library, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And the first thing we did, because we're making appointments for using the computer, we have a record of who used them when. So the first thing we did was look back to find out when was the last time he was in. And as it turned out, the day he was positive was 14 days before the date we were looking. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he could have been positive in the library, but we didn't hear about it until 14 days later.
No, I understand. I mean, you guys did everything right. I'm not criticizing anything the library did.
No, I know.
I'm just, yeah, it just feels like people are talking out of both sides of their mouths depending on what's convenient. And I'm glad nothing came of it, but.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I-
For the most part, people, oh, sorry.
I was very surprised at the answer on the contact tracing, because I thought surely they would have notified us, or should have notified us.
So far, most people are, at least, I mean, I know people are wearing their masks in the library, but they're wearing them correctly as well, I assume, hopefully?
Well,
Mostly? No. Okay, yeah.
that's the thing about this patron, is it isn't always correctly being worn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really scary. Well, I'm glad you're okay, and you know, yeah. I mean, what Legislate was telling you is consistent. I mean, I recognize the inconsistencies, but it's also consistent with stuff that we've been told at the college and things like that as well. So, you know, hopefully it's backed up with, you know, accuracies, I guess, but for as much as they can know. But, you know, and hopefully there are no more people going into the library unbeknownst to you being sick. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Any other questions for Gail or for whomever? All right, so I make a motion, or can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Cheryl
Who is
moves
the
and Carol
second?
second.
Carol?
Thank you.
All right, so any objection to adjourning the meeting? Or all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I like the thumbs up, Ralph, thank you. All right, we close the meeting at 7:40, and I thank everyone for being here, and I hope everyone continues to stay safe and, you know, support their local libraries and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, I was enjoying the self-reading cat.
Yeah,
John, can
I
you
know,
stay
it was
on
making
for
my
a
neck
second?
hurt.
Aw,
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye,
bye.
Brian.
John, are you still there?
Who were you looking for?
Oh, I thought
No,
that
John left.
I thought Brian wasn't present, but we just said bye to him.
There was Brian. He did come in.
I didn't mark
He
that
jumped
down.
in probably about 4 minutes after we started the meeting.
Oh, I'm
so
just gonna
probably
make him present then. I'm not gonna worry about
Okay.
it.